What do you do when you make a mistake? You apologize, that's the first thing. But what if that mistake killed millions of people, impoverished millions more, plundered entire continents and left generations with trauma? I don't think an apology cuts it then. And that's what former colonies are saying to European countries. A sorry is not enough. You need to pay up. And leading that charge is Barbados. Their Prime Minister is in the UK right now. Her name is Mia Mottley. And I must say, she's done her homework. She did not just make an appeal for reparations. She came with an exact figure, $4.9 trillion. That's how much she wants European countries to pay Barbados, $4.9 trillion. Most of it is for slavery. Around 450,000 slaves were trafficked to Barbados. Only 375,000 made it alive, and the rest, they died at sea. Around 30,000 slaves died working on the plantations. They died working for European powers. So Barbados wants the UK to pay up. But where did the 4.9 trillion come from? A report published by the Brattle Group. It's a consulting company based in the US. It specializes in complex calculations like how much do European countries owe for slavery? The numbers will surprise you. The UK owes $24 trillion to 14 countries. Barbados is one of them, $24 trillion for the UK, Spain $17 trillion, France $9 trillion, and the Netherlands $4.8 trillion. Now, these numbers may sound like a lot. 24 trillion is 8 times the UK's national GDP. 17 trillion is 12 times the Spanish GDP. So how can these claims be realistic? Well, the Barbados Prime Minister has an answer. She says, don't take them out of context. This wealth was accumulated over decades and centuries. If you think like that, the numbers are small. And we agree. Here in India, colonial reparations are a hot topic. A couple of years back, the foreign minister also spoke about it. He said Britain looted $45 trillion from India. Imagine that, $45 trillion taken away. That's 13 times India's current GDP. And colonialism does not just take away money. It takes away confidence, it takes away time, and it takes away self-respect. Sometimes it can take decades to regain those. So if anything, 45 trillion is too less. Now, coming back to Barbados, their Prime Minister took charge in 2018, and since then, she's been campaigning for reparations. She's also hosted a summit in July this year, a summit for reparations. A number of African and Caribbean nations attended the summit. They agreed on the demand for reparations. And last month, they followed up on it. The African Union and Caribbean nations created a joint fund. We're talking about 75 countries in total. They've asked European nations to pour money into this fund. But do not expect anyone to actually do it. Most former colonial powers use the same strategy. They will admit that colonialism was wrong. They will say it was a mistake. But they won't do the two things that really matter: apologize and pay. They don't do it. Just look at Britain. King Charles was supposed to be the progressive king. Last year, he gave a landmark speech at the Commonwealth meeting. He said, it's time to acknowledge the impact of slavery. And that speech is what spurred Barbados. Their Prime Minister thought apology and reparations would follow. Well, she was wrong. Charles is yet to apologize. So is his Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak.
I want to ask the Prime Minister today if he will do what Bernie Grant asked all those years ago, what I have asked and what countless others have asked since, and offer a full and meaningful apology for our country's role in slavery and colonialism and commit to reparatory justice.
Yeah. Minister.
No, Mr. Speaker. What I think our focus should now be on doing is, of course, understanding our history in all its parts, not running away from it, but right now making sure that we have a society which is inclusive and tolerant of people from all backgrounds. That's something that we on this House, our side of the House, are committed to doing and will continue to deliver, but trying to unpick our history is not the right way forward and is not something that we will focus our energies on.
Do you see the problem? They can't even apologize for their crimes. How can we expect them to pay trillions of dollars? As things stand, it's impossible, which is why former colonies are moving on themselves, including Barbados. In 2021, they parted ways with the monarchy. Barbados declared itself a republic. Antigua and Barbuda are doing the same. Their government has announced a referendum. Chances are the people will reject the British monarchy. And this process will continue. Younger generations will demand a reset. But that alone does not acquit these European powers. They're all democracies. All of them talk about the rule of law. Well, it's time to walk the talk, we say. You committed a crime all those years back. But the victims are yet to be compensated and the culprits yet to be punished.